perspective. So what we did is I worked with my partners at the Veterans Health Administration, the Veterans Benefits Administration, and we put together a joint PowerPoint presentation, like I said, the landing page, public service announcement, to talk about end-of-life planning. And for us in particular, in my part of the organization, it's hard to talk about death. It's hard to talk about death in your personal life. It's hard to talk about death, with patients, if you're a provider. You all work in a different space. But we were trying to think about how to talk about this topic in a way that is compassionate and sensitive and really would hopefully enable planning earlier in your life. And we know that you can't plan for everything, but if there's some things that you can plan for, hopefully that leads to less stress whenever you actually need to use some of these things. And in this case, veterans benefits. I'm going to share my screen here. So give me 1 moment. Hopefully that's coming through. All right, thank you, Tori. So I'm going to just go through our presentation. I think I failed to send these materials in advance, so I'll make sure to send them after, so they'll be available for you all for your network. And we also have a fact sheet that we'll provide in addition to the landing page that I already put in here. And I'm just going to go through the presentation. I won't go through all of the details because I know you have other presenters today. And I'm also not an expert in the benefits eligibility part. So, but there's links. What I love about this presentation, there's links to all the materials. There's links to all of the eligibility information. And hopefully this will give you a flavor of what's available at VA. One thing that I know that I've seen as we started to work with all of our external stakeholders about this presentation, I think we're missing adding in the hospice care element that VA provides. I think we're missing probably the palliative care that's available through VA. But really the focus of this presentation, like I said, is about planning ahead. And also, like I said, what we try to do here is think about this presentation from a veteran or their family's perspective by trying to reduce the acronyms that we use, trying to speak in plain language. So we're always looking for feedback about how we can improve this presentation, how we can make it more clear, how to make sure that we include all the proper benefits. So if you have any feedback, I would love to take it after this call. So you'll see here that, like I said, we eliminated the acronyms. But what this is all about, it's about financial planning, making sure that families know about what survivor benefits are available, making sure you're planning ahead for advanced care planning with your health, and then obviously memorial planning, which is something near and dear to my heart. And as I explained, we really did work together to create this joint presentation because it's hard to talk about. And we want to make sure that we're talking to veterans, we're talking to their families, not just when they really need it, but early in a veteran's life, early in their career, maybe whenever they're separating from service, just to make sure that everyone knows about the benefits to which veterans have already paid the price for through their service to our country. So my goal always is if you know about the benefits and choose not to use us, that's okay. At least you made that active choice, but it's about knowing that the benefits exist as a first step. And that's one of the reasons we're so grateful for this call. First up is financial planning. VA offers some amazing life insurance programs. For any separating service members, they probably know about the service members group life insurance, which is what you have when you're active duty, which you can transition into veterans group life insurance whenever you're transitioning out of the service. But there's a window to do it. So for most veterans, they say, oh, I didn't do that, so I can't have life insurance. But VA last year, about a year ago, has now offered this VA Life program. And it's here listed on the slide, and it's for veterans with service-connected disabilities, and they can get coverage up to 40K. There's no medical exam. There's no, all those barriers that is typical of perhaps some of the private sector insurance. Like I said, you can see some of the details here, but there's no deadline to apply, unlike, the prior life insurance that we had. coverage for ages 80 and under. That's amazing. You know, for me personally, I'm not a veteran, my husband is. But trying to find life insurance coverage out there in the private sector is really challenging for as you get older. So amazing possibilities for financial planning. And like I said, all of these are hyperlinks, so it can take you to the information. We also offer a variety of survivor benefits. And each of these benefits, unfortunately, have different eligibility criteria. So it's really important to click the link, you know, look through, and then obviously contact us if you have any questions. But the dependency and indemnity compensation, it's a tax-free monthly benefit paid to survivors of a veteran or service member, but they had to have died in the line of duty or from a service-related injury or illness. So it can be payable to a surviving spouse, can be a surviving child, surviving biological, adoptive, or foster parent. And it is, it's a great benefit for those who, other survivor benefits that we offer is survivor's pension. That's a pension, what in the VA term is really like a needs-based benefit. So whenever I say needs-based, that would be dependent on what your actual income is. So for survivor's pension, it's available. And then for those who qualify, we also additionally offer aid and attendance benefit or a housebound allowance, which increases either the amount of the VA pension or on the prior slide, the DIC benefit that would be available. We also offer burial benefits, and we offer different burial benefits. We also offer memorial benefits. But as far as a burial allowance, we pay that to a qualified spouse, family member, executor of the state, designated personal representative, whoever is really taking care of those arrangements. We pay expenses to help cover the cost of burial expenses, plot costs, and transportation costs for veterans' remains. Sometimes if a veteran is already receiving a VA pension or disability compensation at the time of their death, disability compensation is where they get a monthly payment for injury or illness incurred or aggravated during service. Then they might be the spouse might also be eligible for a month of death payment. So they could still get the payment after the veteran passes, depending on the eligibility. We also offer accrued benefits, which could be maybe a claimant they can submit a claim for an accrued benefit. Maybe they had a claim pending at the time of death. So that happens sometimes. So the information here on this page is for either an accrued benefit or also eligible claimants, if the veteran has passed, may also file a claim for substitution of a deceased beneficiary. Maybe they've had an appeal going for a while because our appeals process does take some time. And so a potential, child or spouse eligible claimant could file in substitution. Maybe there would be an appeal that might be awarded, and then that money could go to the family. Those are some of the survivor benefits we offer. We also offer advanced care planning. So our health administration was great in providing us this information. This goes along with just regular estate planning. In your personal life, make sure you have a will, make sure you have a power of attorney, make sure you have an advanced care plan, which allows a veteran to make their health care wishes known and assign someone that they trust to help make medical decisions for them if they are not able. And this is really an important part. You just never know when you might need it. I've said before, in some other presentations, I lost my best friend in November, and she's my age, so just not always the typical age where you might expect somebody to pass away, but luckily she had an advanced care directive in place to make sure that her husband would be able to know what decisions to make and would be secure in knowing that those decisions that he was making would help make sure that he knew he was making the right decision in line with what her wishes are. So this is super important, and there's a website that can help walk you through it. And obviously veterans can always contact their provider for more information or to work with them on their advanced plan. And then here for memorial planning, we have one of the things that we realized with burials and with just our national cemeteries is that sometimes trying to find all of that paperwork, like one of the things that we require for VA benefits is for a veteran to have a copy of their separation papers, often called a DD-213. And trying to find that, and probably the worst time of your life, you know, whenever you're going through grief, whenever you're struggling with just getting out of bed, is not the time to try to be finding the paperwork that you need in order to apply for benefits. So the great thing about the pre-need eligibility application that we have here is that veterans and their families can help apply ahead of time so that VA has a copy of the paperwork, and we can tell you if you're qualified, if you're eligible for burial in a national cemetery. Now, it doesn't reserve your place. All it does is say, yes, you know, you're eligible, but we do have that information ahead of time so that whenever your time of need comes, then it means that your family is not trying to search for that paperwork just to make sure that they can provide it, so that we would make an eligibility determination about whether or not they would be eligible for burial in a national cemetery. It doesn't cover Arlington National Cemetery. Sometimes a little known fact, Arlington National Cemetery here in the DC Capital Region is actually owned by the Department of Defense, Department of the Army. So that's not one of our cemeteries, but we do have 155 national cemeteries all across the nation, and we partner with 122 state grant funded tribal and territorial cemeteries also across the nation. So lots of options close to home, hopefully. And then the last thing about planning ahead is memorial benefits. So not only do we offer burial in a national cemetery or a state grant funded or tribal cemetery, we offer these things here, and a couple I will key in on. If a veteran and their family chooses a burial in, for example, a private cemetery, veterans are still eligible to get a headstone or marker in that private cemetery that we furnish, we pay for. If a veteran says, you know what, I want to be buried in this private cemetery, I want to be buried with my family, we've done it for years, and you know what, I already paid for, you know, a headstone that I really like, well, we can also provide then a medallion to go on that headstone, marking them as a veteran. So there's lots of different options. A presidential memorial certificate is a beautiful piece of paper signed by the president at the time, just thanking families for the service and sacrifice of the veteran. We also have the Veterans Legacy Memorial. It is an online platform that shares the stories of our nation's veterans who have already passed. Any veteran who is buried in one of our national cemeteries, it has their own page. Family members and friends and loved ones can upload tributes, they can upload photos, they can upload biographies about the veteran. They can just say, hey mom, I miss you. They can, you know, share photos of their grandchildren. It's a great way to connect. I've seen some private funeral homes doing this now, but this is nationwide. And like I said, this is for all veterans buried in our national cemeteries and in our state grant funded cemeteries. And we're trying to work on those private cemeteries. Those are a little bit harder to get to. But that's just an overview of the material. Like I said, I'm happy to share it. Feel free to share this with your other partner networks that you have as well. And we would love to take any feedback that you might have about the presentation as well, because we're always looking to strengthen it and make sure that all veterans know about the benefits that they've already earned. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. That was wonderful. Lots of really good, really relevant information in there. So I appreciate you speaking on that. I didn't see any questions pop up, and I know we're a little pressed for time. So definitely, if there are any questions, feel free to put those in the chat and we'll get you the answer to that, whether it's during this call or in the future. But with that, we'll also move on to our next presenters. We're going to hear from Dream Foundation. We have Danny and Barbara on with us today. So we'd love to hear a little bit about you and then hear your presentation.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for welcoming us. I'm Danny Cordaro. I'm the Public Relations Consultant for Dream Foundation. I'm really going to turn this over to Barbara Shoke, who is our VP of Programs. She's going to give you a wonderful presentation about Dream Foundation and more specifically our Dreams for Veterans program. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, I think then I don't have much to add, so let me just share my screen and let's get started. All right. So thank you all for the opportunity to share our work with you today. We're going to dive into some dream stories along the way and go into some specifics on our referral process to show you how to best assist your clients with an end-of-life dream. Hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. We at Dream Foundation believe passionately in the words of Dr. Atul Gawande, author of Being Mortal, that it matters to people how their stories come to a close. Endings are important. While a dream often gives our recipients and their families the opportunity to make the most of the time they have left, it also improves their end-of-life care by addressing their emotional and psychological needs and allows them an element of control and independence. We serve terminally ill adults and their families by providing end-of-life dreams that offer inspiration, comfort, and closure. And I always add joy to that list because that is what we see in the letters and photos that we get from dream recipients, their families, and from care teams. It's a joy that starts early because anticipating a dream can really lift the spirit, and joy lingers on in the memories and stories. And perhaps best of all, the joy reaches out beyond the dream recipient to people on the sidelines, to someone like you who might have planted the first seed of the idea, to those who play a part in fulfilling it. We all recognize we're witnessing something important when someone who really needs it gets to experience something wonderful, and our natural human response to that is joy. Dream Foundation receives no state or federal funding, relying on donations from individuals and companies that align with our mission. Over the years, we've been privileged to hear from spouses, family members, and close friends who told us how much Dream Foundation's work meant to them and to those they love. It takes a quick stroll through our Instagram feed to take a glimpse at some of the lives we're touching. After serving 35,000 dreams, we have thousands of testimonials from social workers, healthcare teams, family members, and dream recipients telling us what a difference their dream made. But we wanted credible, independent measure to show the impact of dreams, so we turned to the American Psychiatric Association for help. They suggested running a study to find out whether fulfilling dreams improves the well-being of terminally ill patients by using the internationally recognized 5-item World Health Organization Well-Being Index survey. This survey asks people to rate how good they feel, or if they wake up feeling refreshed and rested, or how interested they are in what's going on around them. The survey was given to applicants before and after their dream was served, and the APA analyzed the results. The study showed that 80% of those taking part in the study reported a greater sense of well-being after a dream, with the average increase in well-being reported at 21%. These findings really show that one impact dreams have is an improvement in well-being for the recipient, even as they physically decline. We fulfilled veteran dreams right from our very first days in 1994, but by 2014, we saw that veteran dreams gave us a unique opportunity to acknowledge an important chapter in these dream recipients' lives and to engage with their families and community. We decided to formalize our commitment to them and created a sub-program called Dreams for Veterans. So in 2015, Dreams for Veterans was launched, and in 2016, a strategic partnership with the VA was announced. We have served over 1,200 dreams to veterans since then, and we recently established a Veterans Advisory Council of military service members who oversee the program. Through our work with hospices and veteran nursing homes, we meet veterans across generations, from World War II to post 9/11. Increasing numbers of veterans will experience difficulties with the activities of daily living and require compassionate care, focusing on their needs as they age and near the end of life. Qualifications for our program are that dream recipients are aged 18 or older, have a life expectancy of 12 months or less, or if they have dementia, ALS, or another progressive disease, that within 12 months they would decline to a point where they could no longer actively participate in the requested dream. They live within the continental United States, Hawaii, Alaska, and Puerto Rico, and lack the resources to fulfill their own dream. Plus, we ask for proof of service with an honorable or general under honorable conditions discharge, or that the applicant is still on active duty to qualify for this program. If they do not meet that discharge requirement, then they can of course still apply for our regular dream program. In this photo here, you see David, who's 77 and lives in Kansas. He's a Vietnam veteran and served in the Navy. He wanted to attend an honor flight, but needed a caregiver for his healthcare needs, which was something neither he nor his caregiver could afford. Dream Foundation paid for Michael's trip, so David was able to be part of his honor flight, and we also provided a photographer so they would have great photos of their trip. The two of them visited sites such as Fort McHenry, Arlington National Cemetery, the World War II Memorial, Korean War Memorial, Vietnam Memorial, and more. His wife Judy told us after the dream, he enjoyed every bit of it. Everyone thought David and Michael were celebrities with the photographer and all. When they returned, we all took pictures together after the ceremony, and David said that the trip was an outstanding experience. We're often asked what types of dreams we fulfill. Well, we get requests from across the country and across the whole spectrum, but we group them into some broad categories. As you see, most fall into the two biggest groups, vacations and basic needs, followed by family reunions. Basic needs dreams provide a quality of life item that really addresses a practical need. This is a one-time purchase of something the dream recipient needs to improve some aspect of their day-to-day life. These dreams are born not of a hunger for adventure, but up for some kind of normal, a return to their old self. This could be a computer to connect with family and friends, a large TV for entertainment, an electric recliner chair to nap in, an air conditioner window unit to stay comfortable, or even to get pest control services. We all appreciate the benefits of a vacation, but for many of our dream recipients and their families, this is a first and last family vacation. It's an opportunity to create memories, to live carefree for a few days, and to spend quality time with those that are closest. Family reunions is all about visiting family or bringing family for a visit, or events where family and friends come together to celebrate, to reminisce, to share stories, and to say goodbye. Or maybe it's a precious chance to say hello to someone who's already dear, but only seen in photos until that very moment. 4% of requests are about an interaction with a personal hero, a celebrity or public figure that inspires the dream recipient. Because we're dealing with another person's schedule and preferences, these dreams typically take the longest to plan, and we can't count on the outcome. Sports requests usually involve getting a fan to a sporting event, maybe get them to meet players at the sideline during warm-up, or receive something signed. A daydream is any request that can be accomplished in a day. A spa day, maybe dinner and a movie, or anything else that can happen in a day. One recipient asked for help getting him and his wife out to dinner at Chili's. He said later that they were overwhelmed with how the staff treated them like royalty. And by the way, the Chili's staff who made this meal so memorable also thanked us. It was an unforgettable day for them too. That joy of dreams spreading outwards is just the best. 7% of requests are for theme park visits. Most of these requests come from families with children wanting to help keep a promise or see their children be kids again, away from the daily routine. I will say right here that we don't provide Disney tickets, but all other theme parks work with us, and we're able to provide tickets to families. In an effort to honor those who have served, we do our best to provide veteran-to-veteran dream deliveries, where a veteran, a representative from the VA or from a veteran service organization, delivers the dream to the recipient. These special dream deliveries allow volunteers to meet, honor, and acknowledge fellow veterans by presenting them with their dream packages and celebrating together. The delivery may also include a pinning or challenge coin ceremony. We created a special Dreams for Veterans challenge coin that was cast specifically for these occasions to be presented as a token of recognition and gratitude for their service. To fulfill John's dream, we worked with both Southwest Airlines and Honor Flight. It's always wonderful when we have the opportunity to collaborate with other veteran service organizations and pool resources so we can do more for our veterans. And that is the true essence of Dream Foundation and our Dreams for Veterans program. People coming together, sometimes complete strangers, show the dream recipient that they matter and are not alone. The next slide is not a veteran dream, but one I just have to share with you. This referral came from one of our partner hospice organizations and is shared by Paloma, who has referred 27 patients to us in the past many years. See if we can get this going.
Ron loved bicycles. His entire life, he was a cyclist. He just loved it. He had heard that there was this new thing that was called a motored bicycle, that he wouldn't even have to pedal as hard. He had lung cancer. He was so thin, 70 pounds probably, could barely walk. Literally, it's like a movie. The front doors to Sarah House open up, right? We have French doors. And out he stands, and out comes this young man who is the owner of this company that makes this super expensive $5,000 bicycle that is like the cream of the crop for Ron. And he knows all about it. And he sees it and he starts crying and he tells the guy, "Oh man, you got me the best thing on the market." And he literally gets on it, just goes down that tiny little hill, and he's just like, wow, best dream, you know? Now, mind you, this young man was just going to bring the bike for him to look at it. And then the idea was he was going to take it back to the factory or wherever the bike came from. But Ron gets off the bike and he goes, "All right, I'm going to go put it in my room now." And we're all kind of like, And then the young guy goes, "It's okay, let him keep it." So Ron walks the bike to his room. Ron puts the bike on his bed because the bike deserves the bed. And Ron begins to sleep on his recliner for the next 3 nights. On the 3rd day, Ron begins to die. And then he says, "Where's my bike?" And I said, "It's on the bed, Ron. It's on the bed." "That's all right. I want you to know that that bike gave me the best wind of my life. I can't believe I got such an amazing present. You tell that young man I loved it." His next thing is, you don't move my bike from my bed, okay? Until I die, I want my bike there with me. As I go, that bike is going to take me to heaven and I'm going to ride it all the way to heaven. And then I said, "You won't even have to pedal. And then he said, "Don't be silly. My lungs will be perfect then. I'm going to pedal the hell out of that bike." That evening, he began to die. It was a beautiful afternoon in Santa Barbara. The door was open. There was this lovely breeze. Myself and one of my staff members were sitting there with him as he took his final breath. And I remember just looking at him, looking at the bike and thinking, this is absolutely absurd and beautiful. And who would have thought that having a bike on her bed would make 100% sense? But it did. At that moment, all of it made sense. It's a beautiful, beautiful dream.
As we hope that video conveys, our dream granting work supports medical professionals and healthcare organizations by allowing them to focus on medical care for their patients while we inspire them by granting dreams. We are a resource for caregivers, hospices, and veterans organizations who see a need their clients have or hear about opportunities they wish they still had. And by reaching out to us, those needs and opportunities can turn into dreams come true. We are here to be an extension of your caregiving teams. Every dream request comes to us by way of an application, and 55% of those come from care teams. We rely on dream referrals to help reach more adults with life-limiting medical conditions so they can have their final dream. As VA palliative care social worker Ada Marion writes in her note, helping her patients complete dreams for veterans applications is the best part of her job. Ada has been referring patients to Dreams for Veterans since it was founded in 2015. I've had the absolute pleasure to work with the Dreams for Veterans since February 2015. At that time, I was working with a community home hospice agency, and one of my patients was a young veteran. His bucket list dream was to take his son snow skiing. I came across the Dream Foundation and assisted in completing the application, and I was blown away at how easy the application process was and the effect this dream had on this veteran and his family. It was life-changing for all and turned an absolute devastating time into moments of pure joy and happiness. Patricia in this picture, an Army veteran from Louisiana, is one of her recent referrals. She dreamed of traveling back to her hometown to explore and say goodbye to loved ones. Roy's quote here is one that touches me every time I read it. Some may look at a hospice patient and write them off by discouraging them from following their dream. Thank you for the reminder to continue to live, love, and laugh to the fullest, now more than ever. What you gave us can never be taken away and is part of our legacy forever. So what opens the door to these great moments? It begins by submitting an application, which is comprised of 5 elements: the application form, the letter, financial documentation, and a photo. Once you're ready to make a dream referral, it's time to head over to our website, Dreams for Veterans, and click Apply Online or Download Application to begin. The cover page talks about the application and reminds the applicant or caregiver to read through everything carefully and submit all the parts of the application together. It also lists the types of dreams we do not grant, such as hunting, medical transportation, or equipment, surprises, and a few others. The next page lists what the parts of the application are, such as the photo, the letter, income verification, dream agreement, HIPAA form, and proof of service. This is also where we ask for the applicant's full name and contact information, as well as about their military service. Next, we ask for the dream request and an alternate dream request. If the main request involves travel, pick an alternate that does not, in case travel won't get approved. Then below at the bottom part there is step 4, the medical information. Here you need to fill out either step 4A for patients that are still actively receiving treatment, or 4B for applicants receiving hospice services. Then we have the dream agreement. This is a standard document stating who can be part of a dream, permission to disclose medical conditions, a waiver and release, indemnity, information about dream expenses, what we cover and don't cover, and the right of publicity, as well as permission to run a background check. Again, the dream applicant and the participant signed the agreement and the initial were indicated. As a nonprofit organization, we have learned that it is necessary to protect the foundation with these documents, and 99.9% of the time, we've had no issues of bad acting by our recipients. Then we have the HIPAA form that the patient fills out and signs, and the last few pages are the FAQs, which I would suggest to read these first before starting to fill out the application. And for any questions not covered in here, always feel free to give us a call. The letter can be written by anyone on the care
Barbara?
team.
Sorry, I think we're running out of a little bit of time, so we may have to
Okay.
share this with the group.
All right.
Kind of, so sorry to close
All
up.
right.
No, thank you. Thank you for the, I apologize for the hard stop.
Yeah,
But
no
we want to
problem.
make sure that we have time for all of our presenters and we want to get to
Mhm.
Leah, but I'm sure everybody was incredibly touched by that. I think we all kind of got lost in those stories. So definitely send over your referrals if you have any for veterans, and all of their information is available on our blog. And without further ado, I'd love to have Leah Farber chat with us a little bit. Leah's from Residential Hospice, and she'll be sharing about her group's Vietnam, Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day.
Hi, everybody. I hope I'm not coming through on an echo. I have no idea why my screen showed up twice, so I'm not going to worry about that. I will keep it short and sweet. I do work for Residential Hospice in Troy, Michigan. We are a level 5 partner, and I love this program. That's all I really need to say about it. We were very fortunate to be able to do a Vietnam veterans ceremony at a Michigan veterans home. It is one of 3 veteran community-based homes. The other is in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Marquette. And this is a brand new place. It's really a beautiful place. It's a residence that provides long-term skilled nursing care and services that enhance the well-being of the veterans. This is their home. And we were very fortunate to be invited to do a Vietnam Veteran Day ceremony. I'm going to share a quick video that will hopefully give you an idea of just how wonderful our program was. So that was short and sweet. And we honored over 86 Vietnam veterans that day. We also had the Vietnam Veterans of America Honor Guard, who were the gentlemen who did the flag ceremony in the beginning and the 21 gun salute at the end, which was very, very moving. The day ended on a very fitting note. There had been a Vietnam veteran who passed away that morning. And at the end of the day and at the end of the cake and coffee and all of the schmoozing we did, there was an honor walk for the veteran. And everyone who was in the building lined up, and the gurney came through with a flag draped over it, and the family members were there. And there was not a dry eye in the room. We were all very, very moved by that. I really encourage everybody, if they haven't had these, to please do that. And I do just want to share one other piece. When you are through doing any kind of event, I really want to encourage you. People love articles. And so I really want to encourage you to put together just a couple of paragraphs and attach a couple of pictures and send it to the We Honor Veterans website, send it to the NIPCO website. We will have it on our Graham Healthcare website. And it is really important to be able to show people the kind of work you do. And I really want everyone to think about doing it. I am always available for ideas and suggestions. And I also have a lot of good hacks. So don't hesitate to call me if you need any kind of information. And I hope I kept it short and sweet enough.
Thank you so much, Leah. That was wonderful.
Thank
Such a
you.
such a good event, and she really means it when she says that she's always here if you guys have questions or need inspiration. Leah's a great resource. I also just wanted to acknowledge, I know we're kind of past time, so understand if some people have to head off, but Ryan Weller from the VA also just put a quick note in the chat too, that this month is Whole Health Month, and the VA has a lot of resources used to enhance the whole health of veterans and other patients, as well as your own well-being. So he offered a link in there to that as well. So want to make sure no one missed that. But thank you all. Clearly we had too many good presenters to fit into such a short amount of time. But I hope you all enjoyed our presentation, and I love Leah's plug for always submitting any articles, any events, any exciting happenings that your hospice has to our blog to share your stories. All right, and definitely if you have any final questions, don't hesitate to reach out to one of us. But with that, we will close out. So thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
for having us.